Hey gang, Ronan here. As you can see in this game, we've got Papa Pixel playing the Tier 8 Royal Navy Heavy Cruiser Albemarle. And the Albemarle is a fun ship to play. I like that line. I started enjoying playing them at Tier 7, and it was fun all the way through for me. I really think they're neat ships. Those HE shells in particular can be used to devastating effect. They don't have great range, but they hit really hard, and you see a lot of that in this game. You'll notice on the red team, there is a Udachi, second from the bottom on the right side of your screen there. That's played by yours truly, and I was having one of those games, I'm sure, one of those days, I'm sure you've had them, where it just seems like every team you're on is loaded with people who have about 40 games under their belt. So this was a little bit of a brutal beating for the red team, but that does not in any way detract from the terrific game that our hero played here. This ship has some disadvantages. One of them is the gun and torpedo angles. The gun angles are actually, I think, in my opinion, worse than the torpedo angles overall. And that forces you to show some side, and he does pay for that. But the Albemarle has a super heal, and you'll see that although he takes a lot of damage early on, he's able to come back and ends up with a phenomenal game, and he actually finishes me off at the end of the game. We actually finished each other off in this game, both of us sinking the other in the heat of the battle, but with I think over 2,500 base XP and about 45 aircraft shot down, Papa plays a great game because from about a minute or so from now, maybe two, through the rest of the game, at least the remainder of the game that Papa is in, he's under almost constant aerial assault. So let me tell you a little bit about the Albemarle while you watch this play out. This is from the World of Warships Wiki. At the end of 1939, the British Naval Shipbuilding Office focused on the development of cruisers featuring 203mm guns. In 1940, several designs for cruisers based on the Edinburgh-class ships were presented. The biggest of them in terms of size and combat qualities was a project for a cruiser with a displacement of 15,500 tons, boasting 3 triple-gun turrets housing 203mm guns. According to the plan, ships of this class were to be commissioned in 1944. However, the Admiralty was displeased with their low speed, and it was decided to abandon the project in favor of mass constructing light cruisers. Now, the guns themselves, they hit pretty hard. As mentioned, 3x3 formation, 3 turrets, 3 barrels per turret. Some big shots into the broadside on Papa there, as I mentioned. The reload time, 13 seconds is your base reload. 180-degree turn time of the turrets, 22.5 seconds. Firing range, 14.27 kilometers. Not great. As Papa tries to avoid eating torpedoes, he takes a huge shot and ends up eating a torpedo. Rudder ships on these ships, not fantastic. Okay, so back to what I was telling you. HE shells do a max damage of 3,300 with a 17% base fire chance. Initial HE shell velocity 814 meters per second. The AP shells do a max damage of 4,500 and the same 814 meters per second shell velocity. Now the torpedoes hit hard. The torpedoes are set up in 2 racks of 4 torpedoes apiece, with a base reload time of 96 seconds. 180-degree turn time of these racks is 7.2 seconds, and the torpedoes do a maximum damage of 15,533 with a speed of 62 knots and a 10-kilometer range, which really is not that bad. I mean, you've got a Tier 8 cruiser with nice, hard-hitting torpedoes that have really nice range. That is, well, I found I was able to put them to pretty decent use in the games when I was playing this ship. And I really like these ships. If you haven't tried them out and you like cruisers, you could definitely do worse than this line. Now, one of the things that Papa does that I do not, I find it kind of dizzying, honestly, is he scrolls in and out, whereas I like to use the shift key to zoom out and zoom back in, and only occasionally will I use the wheel on the mouse in order to zoom in and out. I find it too slow, but I think for a lot of us, myself included, whatever you start doing when you start playing the game, it kind of becomes your habit, and it's difficult to make changes. I think using the scroll wheel is a little bit slower, which can make a difference, but that's for me, not necessarily for anybody else, and it doesn't look like it's an issue at all for Papa. Okay, so that's the World of Warships wiki information. I'll just kind of in general run through the quick pros and cons. The pros: good survivability from a large HP pool behind only Prinz Eugen and Tallinn, and enhanced repair party, which I talked to you a little bit about. Good HE shell damage and fire chance, both only behind the Cheshire. Usable torpedoes with wide arcs, 10-kilometer range, and 62 knot speed. Access to specialized repair teams. Relatively good concealment for a Tier 8 cruiser. The cons: mediocre 15.7-kilometer range, the third shortest at the tier, though augmented by spotting aircraft. Relatively long 13-second main battery reload time. Mediocre gun firing arcs that require exposing broadside to fire a full salvo. Sluggish handling, accelerates and stops awfully slow with mediocre rudder shift time. And Citadel sits above the waterline, showing broadside can be devastating. And our hero squares off with Baltimore. He's got under 20,000 HP, 17,000 something now, and Baltimore still over 20, but it's Akazuki and Albemarle against Baltimore, and Baltimore is getting caught between a rock and a hard place as the Akazuki just keeps pumping AP shells into him, and our hero looks for an opportunity to finish with HE while avoiding taking a big shot himself. Now those Baltimore shells hit hard.
Torpedoes dead ahead.
Even angled, our hero does take some damage. Pops the hydro
Torpedoes
and
direct front.
kind of neatly avoids any torpedo damage there, fortunately. I'm pretty sure who tossed those torpedoes out there. Now you'll notice the last known position for the Udachi was at Charlie 7. I spent a lot of the game wondering what the heck my team was doing, in particular what our CVs were doing, and you'll see one of them, I don't know if he just gave up, got frustrated or what, but you'll see he just kind of charges into the middle, and well, that's going to provide a little bit of opportunity for Papa, so good for him, I guess. All right, so the Albemarle, let's look at the AP shells. I know I gave you a little bit of information about them. They've got Krupp value of 2,650. It's kind of just a measure of their mass. Penetration of 171 millimeters, overmatch of 14 millimeters, and a threshold of 34 millimeters. And get back here just one sec while I give you the AP damage per minute of the Albemarle, 186,923. The HE, 137,077. So not phenomenal. I probably would have gone with AP here, but the HE shells do hit hard. Now you can see our hero was down to 694 HP before he popped that heal, and he's got 2 fires burning. And this is the power of that super heal, and it does make these ships a lot more fun to play, I'm here to tell you. As Ranger is, I'm sure, rubbing his hands together with glee, thinking I'm going to be able to finish this guy off, but that heal is just outpacing the damage from fires. And you can see the Ranger now pushing in. You can see the Beta back there, almost dead. Waited way too long, and it just gets caught sitting there by the Cleveland, who pushed around the corner. Nice job, Octavian Bearclaw. And Papa's just going to be able to take some pot shots here. 8,700 damage. And at this point, really nowhere for the Ranger to go. It's got Cleveland on one side. It's got Papa on the other. And, well, it's just not going to end well for him. So we talked a little bit about the DPM, HE and AP. Talked about the torpedoes. We talked about the guns. What do I think of the ship? Well, I think these ships are fun to play. And if you're a collector, you like to have a little bit of everything, and you're thinking, hey, it's time, I need to work on these, I don't think you're going to have a bad time. I really enjoyed playing these, and I'm not really what I would call a heavy cruiser guy, but these are fun ships to play. I like ships that have multiple weapon systems, and this one does. I mean, you've got torpedoes and hard-hitting guns. Yes, the reload is a little bit slow, but you can do some really great damage. In fact, you're going to see a Citadel shot with HE And I think at that point Papa was realizing that it was me there. There's the Citadel shot that I was talking about. And Cleveland finishes off the Ranger. Our Akazuki takes out our Papa's team. Was it Skane? I'll never know the correct pronunciation unless someone here helps me. And now it's just a duel. Now I've got over 11,000 HP in the Yudachi, and Papa's down to 5,279, but his guns hit a little bit harder than mine.
Torpedoes
Wisely
direct
pops his
fire.
hydro, easily avoids the torpedoes, and just continues to pummel my ship. And this is about to be over. It's going to come down to a very, very near thing, as half of my remaining HP just gets chunked. And Papa's down to 34 HP. Can I get off one more volley? Here they come. And both of us get sunk. Take a look at the numbers. 45 aircraft shot down, 105 shells on target, 7 fires, 6 secondary hits. That's unusual in my experience with this ship. 8 incapacitations, a Citadel shot, and 1 kill. Great game, Papa. Really, you really played a good game. I know you topped the scoreboard. I think what I'm going to do, rather than make you watch the next 6 or 7 minutes before this was over, as the red team's Akazuki was running for the hills, is I'm just going to cut from here and we'll zoom to the end score information. And there we go. All right, let's take a look at the end game statistics here. 93,100 damage. We covered that. Got a nice medal there for shooting down so many aircraft. That's kind of nice. Yep, 7 fires. That's pretty strong. Team score, I mentioned he topped the scoreboard, 2,128, so a little less than I anticipated based on what I saw early on, but still very strong. Followed closely by Octavian Bearclaw at 2,033. No matter how you slice it and whatever the base XP was at the end, scoreboard topping winning game, and a really phenomenal display of how to use the ship. And not only the guns and torpedoes, but when to use the heel and how to avoid aircraft. You can see that he finished off the Yudachi, played by me, and did massive damage to the Ranger and the Baltimore, a little bit to the Numancia, Talon, and shot down the Pobeda aircraft. 105 shots, landed out of 213. Good damage. A couple of fires down there, must have burned for a little while, 9,100 fire damage, almost 1,000,000 potential damage. In the thick of the fight pretty much the entire time. Again, really, really well played game. And if you haven't tried this line, I encourage you to try it. I think they're fun. I really do. They're not like anything else that you've experienced, but these HE shells, pretty devastating if you can land them. Nice XP, nice ship XP and commander XP. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, I hope you'll like and subscribe, maybe tell a friend, and I'll see you next time.